Okay, I'm back on. This is the movie and food people. I'm Michael Dowswell, and this is a Star Trek special, and I will be attempting to do all 13 movies to talk about them and maybe criticize them. And it's broken into three kind of like generations of different Star Trek movies. You've got 1979 to 1991, and that's the William Shatner. And then the 1964 to 2002, that's the Patrick Stewart. And then it's the 2009 to 2016 is the Chris Pine era. It's eras, isn't it? It's eras. Um, so and what else can we say here? We better just keep talking. So the motion picture is, of course, one of those. I don't know. I don't even know if it's controversial. I don't think so. I think it is. I think the majority would probably agree that it's bad. It is. It is. It's not a good movie, and it is very dull, and not a lot happens, and things look pretty. And yes, it is. It's important. It is. We do have to recognize. What's the word? You got to give kudos to the fact that they did a great job with the redesign of the Enterprise and the music. It's that man again, Jerry Goldsmith, and he creates a lot of music in this movie that is used for like the rest of the movies, and a great. He was so good. He was so good. Um, so, but it famously or infamously, Leonard Nimoy, he hated the movie so much that he said that if they wanted to do another one, he said he would do another one, but he wanted the writers to kill off his character, and so that was actually agreed. They agreed to do that, and I'm trying to think of things like it's directed by the Day the Earth Stood Still director, and and it looks fantastic. It looks beautiful, and the colors and the designs and everything. It it's a stunning looking movie, but I don't have a lot to say about it. So the. Do I? Don't think so. We got to move to the Wrath of Khan. So I did want to say one more thing, and that is if you were new to Star Trek and you started off with the motion picture, which is where you would start, that's completely normal. It might put you off the whole thing. You might just completely abandon. It's like, you know, I think that's not the it's not the ideal situation, and we need to try and um I guess build up awareness of the fact that you know. But I think that a 13 movie series here is that should tell you that there was something about it that um you know. So the Wrath of Khan, the um the Wrath of Khan is is the movie where Nicholas Meyer comes in, and we get what I like to call a sort of submarine movie. It's very much like a submarine movie, and we. I was actually talking just earlier about protagonists not having, a wife, uh, and how sometimes, occasionally, they like to break that tradition. And I think Kirk, though, in this case, his wife, they're separated, but they do have a son, and the uh, the separated wife, and are they separated though? I'm not entirely sure. That's not good, is it? Right. So, but they're certainly not getting along with the son in this one. So, but what's he called? Ricardo he is extremely good in it. This is a great reason to watch it, and of course, it's it's got a slight kind of horror. There's like horror aspect to it. That might be one to, you know, maybe that would bring in the horror fans. Maybe, who there's people out there who have a kind of um it's a bit of a snotty attitude towards Star Trek, and I think it's a shame. I think it's a real shame. Um, they might like it if they give it a try. A try, you know. I'm not saying Joe is one of these people. I'm not, but yeah, it would be good. So, and also, this is the start. Star Trek 2 is the start of a trilogy, and it's an extremely well-made trilogy, and it's a fascinating trilogy. Each movie is quite different, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but when you get to the fourth one, it's kind of it's it's not really, I guess it's not really a comedy, but there's a lot of humor in it, and it's just really well done. Um, but so I don't know about spoilers for this, but do we go to the search for Spock? Do we? We could do. Let's just say that Mr. Nimoy was very happy. He was very happy indeed with the results of the Wrath of Khan, and let's just add here, he's actually a very intelligent man, very intelligent, and um he starts to direct. He goes into the director's chair for the third movie, and the third movie is really very good. And it's got Christopher Lloyd as the villain, and so we have a villain for Wrath of Khan, and we have a villain for for Spock, and he just makes a really good villain, and of course, again, the movie. I don't think I talked about the I didn't talk about the music, did I, for Wrath of Khan? The music for Wrath of Khan, I think, is James Horner, I think. And he did a great job with the music. Um, that was, yeah. Wrath of Khan it's kind of, what's a bit of a classic there, isn't it? So, Search for Spock, I don't, I can't remember if it's James Horner or Jerry Goldsmith. I'm not sure. But Search for Spock is a good one. And then, of course, you have The Voyage Home. The Voyage Home, which is which is a great one. You know, it's a really great one, and it's Leonard Nimoy is directing again, and I think Nicholas Meyer, who wrote and directed The Wrath of Khan, I think. He wrote The Voyage Home, and he's a great writer. Yeah, he's a really great writer. They should have kept hold of him later on. Yeah, later on they should have kept hold of him. So, and it's stuffed with it's a time travel story, and it's stuffed with humor, and it's just a what we call it, like a charming. It's like a charming um science fiction tale uh yarn. I don't know. So I recommend that a lot. I recommend the trilogy a lot. Like, absolutely, absolutely. Um, so good, so good. And then you get to Star Trek V, which is pretty terrible. This is where, um, this is where, uh, William Shatner was allowed. He was allowed to direct it, and it's actually stuffed with humor in it as well. And if you can sort of calm yourself down about it, um, you'll have a good time with it. But you'll have to sort of accept the fact that that the story is not very good. it's and that it's an extremely different experience to, like, up until this point, apart from the motion picture, it's been like very well made, and then suddenly it isn't, and what's I gonna say? Yeah, William Shatner ran out of money on it. I don't think he really knew how to what's the word, like, I guess it's a budget yeah, problem. But it's was at least said soon as mended. Yeah. So then you go to the Undiscovered Country, which is this is where we get Nicholas Meyer back again, and he directs. And does he write it? I think he does, but I'm not sure. It's he probably did. I should have checked this stuff beforehand, but it's 1991 now, and of course I'm like 10 years old at this point, and I think I saw it when I was like maybe 12 or something, and so this is the one with Klingons in it again, and it's a kind of a sort of murder mystery kind of a thing. So if that's your thing, if you like, a bit like Agatha Christie or something, then, and it was different. It was really quite different to everything that had come before it, and it's very, very well made. The Nicholas Meyer guy was really, really good at directing movies. Then it's sort of when you get to the end of that one, it's very much apparent that it's like the final thing, and they're done there, and you probably won't see them again. And then in 1994 they started a new era with the Next Generation cast, which is Patrick Stewart at the forefront, and this kind of became the Patrick Stewart and the Brent Spiner show. and which, I mean, they're both brilliant. So they're both absolutely brilliant. So you would, um, they're great to watch on the screen. And I was going to say that Kirk, I think it's Kirk and Chekhov and Scotty, I think, are in this at the beginning, and that was really nice to see that. And this is a very well made movie, and can't remember who directed it, but it is a very nice, nicely made movie. And I was, of course, at this point, so I'm about, like, what am I, 14, 13 year old? And I saw this one twice at the movie theater. It was, yeah, I had a really good time there. And it was what do you call it, a spectacle? I still think that when you were young, things were, well, they were different, weren't they? You know, clearly they were different. So, I'm trying to think of anything else to say. I'm trying to cannot remember the name of the person who did the music, but we should probably move on to First Contact. Now, this is definitely Jerry Goldsmith doing the music, and it's Jonathan Frakes doing the directing it. And this is the one that sort of stands out and is, you know, we'd probably say that the is definitely one of the best. You know, you would probably pick Wrath of Khan, First Contact, and Voyage Home at this point, and Undiscovered Country. But Generations is good too. I mean, but it's different. Generations is very philosophical. It's a very philosophical movie, and I think people kind of forget that. It's Generations does stick out as being a bit more. There's a bit more like to it, you know. But First Contact is kind of is more sort of can we call it an action? It's time travel, and it's got great great special effects and great script and great action. And of course, they're up against the Borg, and the Borg are a kind of, they're a bit like kind of vampires, but like vampire robots. I just probably put people off. But no, the Borg are interesting. Yeah, they were. And let's see now, it's got some cameos in it from Robert Picardo, and the guy who does Neelix is also in there. And it's just it's a great one, and it appears to be, if I've got this right, it's the first one to be a PG-13, because you're sort of dealing with kind of, it's again kind of horror. It's kind of horror here. So anybody who's watching who likes horror and hasn't seen any Star Trek, maybe this would be like a good one for you to investigate. You yeah. But, and it's got of course James Cromwell is also in this, and he's very, very good. And because he's a great actor. And Data, of course, has his emotion chip, which he gets in Generations, and it provides the comic relief. Data kind of provides the comic relief. I'm trying to think who provided the comic relief in the others. I mean, it's McCoy, isn't it? Really, this is McCoy. So after they had a big success at the box office, I think, with First Contact, and Jonathan Frakes directed the third one for them, which was Star Trek Insurrection, and this one gets a bit of criticism. It's okay. It's an okay one. Um, but I guess it's just it's not up to it's not the let's say nothing there. It's not as good as what came before it. But it's interesting because you can see the style of Jonathan Frakes is in there, and it's it's fine, and there's a lot of funny stuff in it, and it's well made. Um, I like it. I like it, and I don't know what really to say about it. It's it's not as good. It's not as good as what came before it. It's sort of put down as a disappointment, I think. And he was, I don't know what happened after that, but it seems like he didn't direct the next one, and I don't know, I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but there was a 4 year gap, and then Nemesis comes out, and I think it's directed by Stuart Baird or something, and he did so he did some action movies, Executive Decision, and Death. I want to say maybe U.S. Marshals, but I haven't got it in front of me. I probably should, but I think that's what he did. So he's like a good action director, and he does this, and I think they said that they reckoned that the cast of the Next Generation cast, they it was what do you call it? There was they didn't know him, and so it was maybe. But I think it's quite good, as well. It's interesting because it has the guy oh goodness, what's he called now? This is a big famous actor is in it as the villain. Only he's super young in it, and he's called it's the guy who does Mad Max, and he's in that one with Leonardo DiCaprio, and he gets attacked by a bear. Yeah, then he gets chewed up, and probably should have died because it looked quite. What's that movie? The part, the Revenants. I think it's called the Revenants. So, I think he's Tom Hardy. That's the word. I have to. It takes a while, you know. It takes a while, but the name does eventually get to me. So Tom Hardy is in it, and he's the villain, and the thing that I think's interesting about it is, or all of these movies, is they're all different, and that to me is interesting. That is very interesting in itself, you know. Here's the thing: Nemesis actually has a Jerry Goldsmith. In fact, those last three there all have got Jerry Goldsmith scores. And they're it's incredible music. So, you know, there's that to think about too. There's this instrument that he used called the something blaster. It's called it's a blaster beam, and he uses it in the motion picture, and it just sounds amazing. And here's a little bit about it on Wikipedia. I usually end up talking about this. Um, the blaster beam is a concept electric musical instrument consisting of 12 to 18 foot long metal beam strung with numerous tensed wires under which are mounted electric guitar pickups, which can be moved to alter the sound produced. The instrument is played by striking or plucking the strings with fingers, sticks, pipes, or even large objects such as artillery shell casings. The instrument produces a very distinctive bass tone, the sound of which is often described as dark or sinister. And this thing sounds amazing. It just sounds, if you love, the sound of bass, yeah, if you love the sound of bass, then I think maybe that's why. Because I do love the sound of the bass, the double bass, from the classical, from the orchestra, and I had to talk about that. I actually forgot to talk about it for motion picture, but it has to be mentioned. It's used in some other movies too. I'm trying to think if it might. I'm trying to think it might be used in that movie where they're traveling around in a vehicle, like this big vehicle around a post-apocalyptic sort of like Earth. It's not the scorched Earth. It's not the can't remember, but I think it might be used in there, but I might be wrong. It's a 1977 movie. But anyway, let's get back to it. So then, because things weren't going so great at the box office at this point, I feel like I should be higher up here. Things were not going so good at the box office. So they stopped the Next Generation movies, and which I was sad. I think that was sad, but we did get 4 of them. But it would have been nice if we'd got like 6 from on the first run, the first era. But we didn't. We got 4, and they decided to sort of reboot. They decided to go back to having Captain Kirk again. But here comes a train. They decided to recast Captain Kirk in 2009, and they chose Chris Pine, and he's very, very good at doing the part, and this is a unusual situation where they had to choose new actors for all of the characters, and they managed to get all of them very, very good. Like, it just doesn't. It's something that shouldn't have happened. I don't think it's unusual, and how did I feel about the movie? So the movie is it's kind of not really like Star Trek, because it's very action heavy, and I would say I love about half of the movie. Really, really love it. But I think it's just not. It's J.J. Abrams, and he's a Star Wars fan, but he loves Galaxy Quest, which is a great movie. Like, if you haven't seen that, that's a great movie. And he says that's his favorite Star Trek movie is Galaxy Quest. Maybe we should have put it on. Maybe we should put it on the list. I don't know, but it's let's see now. He he loves it, and so do I. And so you could kind of see a bit of Galaxy Quest in the movie, which was great. Uh, what was I going to say? You get to Star Trek Into Darkness, and it's not, in my opinion, it's not very good. Um, this was also J.J. Abrams, and it's got Benedict Cumberbatch in it as the villain, and it's just not. I don't really remember much about it, but I did see it. Like I've seen it twice, I think, 2 or 3 times. Yeah, maybe I need. We need a reassessment. We need to reassess, and I will get back to you on the when once I have reassessed it. I actually saw a tiny little bit of it today, and it was looking very, very blue. Kind of, I mean, I guess a bit like this. I mean, what am I doing actually with this blue color? We could get rid of that, you know. Whoops. Whoa, that is drastically different, isn't it? So, because now we can see me. And this is kind of, really, that's interesting. This is one of the things with these movies that they make, that they put like a heavy blue filter on. It's like, you know, this is about, this live stream's gone a little bit weird, isn't it? Hold on, so... it was kind of like so the character that Cumberbatch was playing is Khan from Wrath of Khan, but they kind of just sort of changed things, and it's not really a remake of the Wrath of Khan, but they've stuffed in bits and pieces from it, the Wrath of Khan. So like little bit scenes are remakes, reimagined. It's a bit of a mess. So then you get Star Trek Beyond, which has a new director, and we get some writers who care about Star Trek, who are fans of Star Trek. And one of those was Simon Pegg. So he I didn't mention it, but he is Scotty in this era, this 3 movie era, which I would have liked to have seen it them do more of it. But then I'm a science fiction fan, but this one is by a director. I think he did a couple of Fast and Furious movies, and is it Justin Lin or something? Maybe. He might be called that. And it's really good. I actually think that this is a really good one, and they didn't make any more after this so far. 2016 it's getting further and further away. And we also had the death of Anton Yelchin, who was Chekhov in these movies, and I don't know why they're dragging their heels not making another one, if it's to do with his death or I just don't know. I don't think anybody knows what is going on. It's a bit of a mystery. Maybe somebody could tell me. Simon Pegg is really great in all of them. He really sort of elevates the he creates the comic relief. Although, and well, you've got McCoy also, with the comic relief, and so these movies have quite a lot of humor, and they're fun, but I don't know where I would like if I was to what's the word here? Rank. Oh, that's right, because people love to rank movies. They absolutely love it. I would probably put what would I put as number one? It would be, I mean, I guess it would be The Wrath of Khan or something. Well, it might actually be the Voyage Home, and then it would be The Wrath of Khan, and then The Search for Spock, and then it would be First Contact, I think, and then Generations, and then Star Trek 2009. I just put it above Beyond, and then Beyond, I think. I don't know. It's hard ranking stuff, isn't it? Very hard. It's best to give it like an out of 10 score, I think, because then you've got those little increments, like a 10 point, well, an 8.2 or something like that. Something like that. Or things like that. And, what was I going to say? So I then put at the bottom here, at the very bottom here, I decided to put in a couple of documentaries. Nobody joined me for this one. We had somebody join me for the test, sound test at the beginning of this. So it was Mr. Joe Granby. Shout out to Mr. Joe Granby. He has a movie channel. It's very, very good. I really like watching Joe. He's really good. He's a much better speaker than me too. And yeah, he always has his recommendations are very good. I think so. I really do. So so then I actually have a makeshift microphone stand here, and I'm trying very hard not to touch the table. I actually moved the mouse way over there, and so Mr. William Shatner, who's quite a character actually, he's quite prolific with his things. He does all kinds of stuff. One of the things that he likes to do is documentaries, and he likes to talk to people. And he did a documentary where he's sitting on the lawn in a chair with Leonard Nimoy, and they just talk about Star Trek and kind of their life. They talk about their life, what was going on as they were making Star Trek, and they talk about They talk a bit about the other actors, because there was some kind of a problem with William Shatner and the others who were Nichelle Nichols and Walter Koenig and George Takei and James Doohan, and he talks about how he didn't realize that they didn't like him, and it's super interesting. It really is. No, it's if you love all this Star Trek stuff, then all these movies and TV shows, there is a lot to talk about, isn't there? With all of it, but it's a great little documentary. Just very, very simple. Just a kind of conversation, and it's very, very good. And then he did 10 years after that one, he did another one called The Captains, and this is where he goes around finding, locating, and arranging meetings with all of the captains from all the TV shows, and he just and even Chris Pine, he talks to Chris Pine, and that was super interesting, and there's something about William Shatner, isn't there? And he's just very interesting, and the way he goes about things. I guess you could say he's quite intense sometimes, but he also has a sort of like he kind of laughs at things. That wasn't very good. So I mean that's kind of it. I'm trying to think of other things that I could say here about it, but I am running out of things to say about it. So I guess we've said all that we can say, and we're gonna have to go. And it was, I hope it was okay. I think that I did try my best. I did try my best here. This is I think you'll probably see there that I know quite a bit about Star Trek, because and some of these previous live streams, some of the previous live streams, I've been struggling a bit, but I am like very into Star Trek and I do love it. So it was probably a bit better there, but I do try, and so that is all for the moment, and I'm going to fade down here. I'm going to say goodbye to you. Goodbye. Have a good weekend, and see you all in the next one, whatever that may be. I did Rambo. It was the last thing I did, and I would quite like to redo some of the others by, yeah. Okay, so that's it, and see you. Goodbye. Fade to black.